Hello folks, today we welcome you to an all-new special edition of 5 Minutes. Today we will be discussing about how China's control over the Silk Road allowed them to become a strong nation during the Tang and Song dynasties. Here with us is Professor David M. Oshinsky, a distinguished scholar that holds the Jack S. Blanton seat at the University of Cambridge. He will be helping to further our knowledge on this topic.
Thank you. I'm glad to be here.
So, Professor, what made the Tang and Song dynasty turn China into such a powerhouse nation?
Well, the Tang and Song dynasties were the bulk of China's golden age, the defining points in their history, and how their social structures came to be. See, the Silk Road was a huge part in this defining of social structure. See, and because of this, China had to have a firm iron grip on the Silk Road. Between 1618 and 1215 AD, the Tang dynasty ruled over China, bringing peace, prosperity, and achievements. Their rule expanded out as far as Korea and some areas of Central Asia. So, because of this expansion, the Tang dynasty had to increase their grip over the Silk Road, bringing a rise in trade and allowing art to flourish throughout China. During the Tang dynasty, the Silk Road reached its peak. Even with the Silk Road being blighted with bandits, the Chinese still profited due to their iron grip over the trading affairs, thus making China become the richest and most populated nation during its time. Due to the Tang dynasty rule over China, China had an estimated population of 20 million residents. Astounding for its time period.
Not only did goods come from trading in the Silk Road, multiculturalism flourished as everybody was earning money, had difference in origin, languages, and even their fate. So this would implement ideas and teaching into trade, as this is mainly how the exchange of Buddhism spread through China, Korea, Vietnam, and eventually Western Europe. Buddhism brought the Tang people to have huge values in their arts, as it also brought deep reflections onto an individual, making Buddhism a very wealthy religion in the Tang and Song dynasty. Here with us is Professor Wang Jinghu, a PhD holder in Chinese history and honorable scholar of the Chinese University of Hong Kong.
Thank you. I am glad to be here.
So Professor Wang Jinghu, can you help explain us how the Silk Road was managed and governed, or even if it was ever governed?
Well, as the Silk Road became stronger and more influential in the world business, it was needed that it would have to have a strong government to regulate and reform it. To do so, the Tang government re-established the civil service examination system using the Confucianism philosophy to guide the Chinese empire till the end, so as the civil service was known to give a difficult test in order to work in the government. The Tang dynasties and later Song dynasty didn't only focus on intellectual prowess, they also considered that you needed to show refinement and speech and appearance, and to be talented with the quill and expressive as a quote, as some of the most famous leaders were poets, including Li Bai and Du Fu.
After every rise comes a fall, and which happened to the Tang dynasty in 907 CE. But with the downfall, it also brought a legacy that wouldn't be unchanged till the 20th century. But what made them fall was the greed, the controlling of their land, and eventually the defeat caused by their own, the An Lun Shan rebellion. So after the fall of the Tang dynasty, the Song dynasty came along around 960 to 1279 CE. The Song dynasty experienced unprecedented economic growth and industrial advancement during their time. The technology advancement made them to become a more modern empire. What started this change was how the technology and ideas spread through the Silk Road. Advancements in agriculture equipment was needed as the population rose to 20 million residents. So they developed stronger and thicker plows to farm the new swampy lands. They used fertilizer to allow more productivity in food and even new ways in farming techniques. But because of invaders and decades of war, some of the Song dynasty had to root from southern China. They mainly encouraged trading at their borders, as trading on land wasn't as efficient in the past for them. This made maritime trading the new way to trade. So because the Chinese were more technology advanced, it allowed them to make larger ships than their competitors and innovate in the compass. This enabled them to carry more items and travel farther out. As the Indian Ocean started to be filling with Chinese ships, they drove out the Indian and Arab merchants, making them very successful at sea. So the use of ships in trade gave the military to have an impressive navy. The ships would be armed with trebuchets, catapults that first launched bombs at their enemies, making them a feared and praised navy. But inventions for land use were still prosperous, as weapons like crossbows and archeries were innovated by the use of gunpowder. So as the Chinese couldn't keep up with the speed of wealth creation and the resources to make money were getting limited, this made leaders to invest in how they could make a more efficient process. It inspired the invention of paper money during 1024 CE. As paper money started to become more liked and become a type of legal tender, it was needed for them to develop printing and innovate in the process as time went on. So, as the Chinese were able to have the Silk Road as an accessory to them, it didn't only just bring prosperity and wealth from trading, but it also brought multiculturalism, spread of different types of religions, languages, technology, stories, and ideas. These features then brought advancement in the Chinese society, as it brought literature, military strengths and advancements, trading techniques, farming techniques, social structure, technology advancements, and we can go on and on. But the Silk Road mainly didn't help the Tang and Song dynasty in the Golden Age, but it turns out to have changed the face of world history for many years and centuries to come. Until next time, I'm Dr. Preston Cruz. Thank you for watching 5 Minutes. Have a great day.